Would I be the a-hole if I told my roommates that the others and I will not be signing the roommate release form? There's good reason not to, and it makes perfect sense. Let's see what she has to say about this situation with roommates, and we all know how volatile that can be.
She stated, I, 22F, live in a rental house with 5 other roommates. This is, I believe, the 3rd year we have been here, and our lease expires again towards the end of September. For context, if it wasn't obvious enough from the amount of roommates, none of us make a lot of money. My portion of rent is about half of my paycheck, and there have been times where other roommates have struggled to get their full amount on rent paid. We are essentially a paycheck-to-paycheck household. 2 of our roommates, TF and MM, got married a few months ago, and about a couple weeks ago, they announced to the rest of us that they would be moving out into a townhouse in a couple months. It was obvious that they wanted it to be some big announcement where they get congratulations, but you could practically hear crickets when they said it. Myself and my 3 other roommates just kind of offhandedly congratulated them, but we were all obviously wondering what that would mean for rent. A few days later, they tell us their move-out date is around mid-July, and that they've gone to our rental company to request a roommate release form for us to sign. Edited. Thing is, I don't want to sign it. 1. The contract pretty much releases them from any liabilities like damages to the property, which I know in our first year M broke a sconce in our dining room and never replaced it, among with some other damages. We definitely aren't getting the deposit back, too. If they leave mid-July, that leaves 2 more months for the rest of us on lease to have to cover their portion. In total, for those 2 months, we will be missing $1,600 from their portion. That's just the rent itself, no utilities. 3. I may just be spiteful, but if you sign a lease for a specific amount of time with others, you should be required to either stay the full term or pay out the lease for breaking it. It feels like such a trap for them to have signed to renew the lease with us last August, just to try to leave the rest of us hanging instead of sticking it out the last 2 months of the lease. 4. My mother's name is on the lease as well. Without her name on it, we would not have had enough income to get approved. She's the only reason we've been able to stay in this house for 3 years after my ex-BF screwed me and my roommates over with our last housing situation. My mother also believes they should have to stick out the lease. Honestly, I don't even care about the utilities payments if they aren't going to be here. I just want the rent covered. M and T have been harassing me to sign the papers, and I don't want to be confrontational and tell them no, so I've been just kind of shoving them off. Today they left a sticky note on my door saying to sign the paper, and I'm getting pretty fed up with the badgering, like they weren't the ones who are trying to screw us over. I want to tell them, I will not be signing the roommate release form, and even if you badger me to sign it until I cave, our roommates and my mother will not be signing it either. It is not fair to the rest of us for y'all to break lease early. Would I be the asshole? I understand that they are most likely doing it because they can't afford the townhouse and our current house at the same time, but that shouldn't be the rest of the 4 of us problem, and we should not have to increase our rent because they decided not to wait 2 more months for the lease to be up. That is a decision that they made, and the rest of us staying should not be punished for that. After the lease is up, the 4 of us, edited, must move. Bad financially. But what do you guys think? If you're all on tight budgets, would you eat the cost for others who have broken things? Go ahead and tell me what you think about this, and don't forget to like, comment, and share.